coming off a huge game. It's Antonio Gibson. He was kind of slowly creeping up against the Bengals in Week 11, 51% of snaps. That was his first time over 50% snap share in a game. And then boom, against Dallas in Week 12 on Thanksgiving, 20 attempts for 115 yards and 3 touchdowns, 5 for 7 through the air. And this is the game I think we all, if you were ever skeptical, this was what you needed to see for Gibson. He smashed in an easy matchup. He's been given the volume, and he's the RB5 in PPR and standard leagues right now. So Gibson, he was an upside shot in drafts that is now winning people leagues this season. I know you and I, we're Gibson fans, but we weren't necessarily all in on Gibson around draft season because we just didn't know how good this Washington team was going to be. He was in a timeshare to start the year with Peyton Barber. J.D. McKissic has still been getting involved as well. But what we've seen is that he can produce. And even with this ADP creeping up into 7th, 8th round in a lot of redraft drafts, Gibson was absolutely worth that investment. Every week, he's a no-question starter. Even in his next 2 matchups, they are tough. He's got Pittsburgh and San Francisco over the next 2 weeks. But then after that, he has Seattle and Carolina to wrap up the fantasy season. Alex, what's your take here on Antonio Gibson rest of season and even into 2021?
Yeah, I mean, Antonio Gibson's a lock-it-in kind of guy. The production is speaking for itself. He's getting the touches, he's getting the workload. And the thing that stands out to me about this last week against Dallas, it shows you the upside that Antonio Gibson can have in positive game scripts. Now, Antonio Gibson's been incredibly consistent all season long. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 11 touchdowns on the ground this season. So, you know, he's being essentially the goal line back. I know week 1, Peyton Barber got a couple, but since then it's been Antonio Gibson's season. But this Dallas game, he was on the field so much and got used so much because of the positive game script. The Washington football team isn't a team that typically is used to playing with a lead, especially this season. Actually, especially the last however many seasons I can remember them being around. So, you know, they're used to having to flex in J.D. McKissic on those passing downs. They're used to having to, you know, not getting many red zone opportunities, but then also taking Antonio Gibson out, feature other guys in the passing offense because they're normally playing from behind. In this game, they got a strong lead. Ironically, it was one of J.D. McKissic's worst games of the season, or at least for his past hot stretch. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think it was because they were winning in this game. They didn't need to use J.D. McKissic in those passing personnel, those third down back situations, those come from behind situations. So Antonio Gibson got a ton of run in this game, 65% of snaps, highest he's gotten on the season. You know, 20 carries on the ground, 7 targets through the air, 27 opportunities. There, you know, I can count on about 5 fingers how many running backs in the league are getting that on a week in and week out basis, or even have the potential to get there. So Antonio Gibson has absolutely exceeded expectations. I don't think this is a mirage. I don't think you can expect these kind of breakout weeks for him moving forward, especially when you look at their schedule and it's Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Seattle over the next 3 weeks. I do expect them to be typically playing from behind, maybe using J.D. McKissic a little bit more. But even having said that, Antonio Gibson has proved to be a solid fantasy asset. If he can get you those 10 to 15 carries with the touchdown upside that he has had, he's gotten tons of opportunities. And then if he can sprinkle in a couple targets as well, you're going to be very, very happy. I think he is a top 15 running back rest of the season, and you're going to be pretty hard-pressed to find 2 or 3 backs on your roster that you're willing to play over him on a given week.
It seems like J.D. McKissic is really only used in comeback mode, just like you were alluding to. So that makes Gibson a smash play in the right game script. J.D. McKissic, 1 carry, 2 targets in this Dallas game. And I think you can start Gibson
lowest snap percentage on the season, only 39% of snaps. Previous 3 weeks, 51, 70, and 84%. So that kind of illustrates the picture right there.
100%. And you want to start Gibson with confidence given the role that he's gotten. He's been relied upon heavily in all facets of the offense. 139 carries this season. That's 13 per game, 14th in the NFL. And he's top 15 amongst running backs and targets with 39. On top of that, he's the clear goal line back, top 15 in the NFL in red zone touches, 4th in touchdowns with 11, and he's scored in 75% of his games this season.
It's crazy.
Which I would not have expected that at all to start the season. And it's not like it's because he has a ton of breakaway runs. It's just that this Washington football team's actually been able to score, whether it's in garbage time or them being able to actually put up the points and move the ball a little bit. Now with Alex Smith at play, Dwayne Haskins even had some moments. Kyle Allen had some moments, but they've been doing enough to give Gibson those red zone opportunities. And it's almost like that poor quarterback play has led to them relying on the ground game a little bit more when they are in the red zone. So Gibson, he hasn't been hyper efficient. I think that's what a lot of people liked about him, was that he was going to be this home run hitter. That isn't what he's been. He's been moderately efficient, but that volume that he's gotten has made up for it in spades. So I love Gibson. I think you're right. He's a top 15 guy. Now I do have a question for you. The rest of this year, and we'll even talk about 2021, Antonio Gibson or Josh Jacobs. These are guys that I put almost the exact same type of player. I think I like Antonio Gibson a little bit more for what he can give us in the passing game. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's tough because Jacobs is a little bit banged up right now. I'm actually looking at season-to-date rankings. I'm shocked to see that Josh Jacobs is the RB6. I thought he'd be way lower. He's felt very disappointing. I have to go with Jacobs. I think the Raiders' offense is a little bit stronger. They're typically in these shootout games. I think the scoring opportunities, it's crazy because I feel like there should be more scoring opportunities for Josh Jacobs than we're talking about Antonio Gibson scoring in 75% of his games. So one way or another, Antonio Gibson is finding a way to get it done. At this point, I still do trust Josh Jacobs a little more. Now, having said that, he does have the ankle injury. He didn't practice today as of when we're recording on Wednesday. Assuming he is back on the field on Sunday, I think I still lean the way of Josh Jacobs.
Interesting take there.
Barely.
We'll see how it changes over time.
Closer than it should be.
Yeah, it's very close. And that's why I brought up Jacobs there. They're the same type of player, and they're back-to-back on the season in terms of fantasy points.
But give me Gibson over Zeke. I mean,
wow.
Right? Are you with me there? Give me Gibson over CEH. Give me Gibson over a lot of those guys. I mean, honestly, Kenyon Drake is tough. Kenyon Drake's getting that same kind of volume, but yeah, give me him over Zeke, give me him over CEH for the rest of the year.
I think for 2020, I agree. From long-term dynasty, I'm still putting Zeke over those guys.
Yeah, that's redraft.
Okay.
Definitely just redraft. Yeah, not talking dynasty there.